She left your son in the emergency room to get laid. That is the sentence that cracked my spine. Me, female, 36 years old. Husband, male, 39 years old. Everyone on his side will call it an exaggeration. I call it Tuesday night. Before you judge me, know this. By the time I finished the story, I had a duffel bag on the porch, a locksmith on speed dial, and the name of the woman who thought my family was her playground. It ends with a phone call that ruined 2 households and a confession I still replay when the house is silent and smells like lemon cleaner and burnt toast. But it begins with a buzzing phone in a locker room and a 13-year-old boy with a swollen wrist asking, "Mom, where are you?" I am an ICU nurse in a Midwestern city where the snow gets dirty fast and the drive-through coffee tastes like courage. My husband, Adam, sales director for a chain of hardware stores, had taken our son, Jordan, 13 years old, to visit Adam's parents for a guys' weekend. I would have gone, but we decided, his idea, it would be good bonding. They planned ice skating with Adam's old neighborhood crowd. At 9:47 at night, I was folding scrubs into my locker when my smartwatch started vibrating like it owed rent. 11 messages from Jordan, 2 from a number I did not recognize. The texts read like a train wreck in slow motion. Jordan fell, wrist looked bent, at the emergency room, Nana can't get hold of Dad. The unknown number belonged to Lydia, a friend from Adam's hometown who'd volunteered to chaperone the kids at the rink. She wrote, "Jordan's okay, but they need a parent for consent. Adam stepped out to take a call." Another, "I'm so sorry you had to find out this way about," and then a man's name I did not know. I called Lydia. Shaky voice, apologetic exhale, the squeak of hospital sneakers in the background. Between "I should have said something" and "it's not my business," she admitted Adam had left after the skate session to grab dinner with a friend, and for some reason, her throat tightened around the word friend like it was too big to swallow. We share locations in our family because my shifts are insane, and his car has the personality of a cat, unpredictable. Adam's dot sat on a hotel off the interstate, the one with the neon sign that flickers and a bar that smells like spilled beer and motel shampoo. I stared at the blue dot until the screen dimmed. Somewhere in the hospital, a baby cried. Somewhere else, a vending machine dropped a bag of chips like a gavel. I texted Adam. No reply. Jordan wrote, "They're gonna set the bone soon. Love you." I texted back a photo of my hand making the sign we use for "I'm here." I was not there, and that was the beginning of the fracture you cannot cast. Jordan got his cast. Lydia took him back to Adam's mother's house, the bungalow with the ceramic cow in the kitchen and the smell of fried onions ground into the wallpaper. They gave the emergency department my permission over the phone. The nurse repeated everything back to me like a witness statement: white fiberglass cast, pain meds, follow-up with ortho, vital steady. At 1:36 in the morning, my phone lit up. Adam, we were at a coffee shop, poor reception. The hotel's parking lot camera would beg to disagree, and so would his location history, which I screenshotted like a librarian stamping a due date. I have seen families fall apart over less than a latte. When my shift ended, I drove home along a dark river of taillights. The house felt like a stage set, all our framed beach photos suddenly props, the plant drooping in the corner like it knew something. I opened our phone account because I pay the bill, because I have always paid the bill since the year we decided my steady hospital income could carry us through his commission droughts. There it was, a number repeated like a heartbeat. Calls at lunch, calls at midnight, texts that only stopped between 2 in the morning and 5, which coincidentally is when the human body is the most honest and also the most tired. I dropped the number into a search engine and found a smiley corporate headshot on LinkedIn. Melissa, 38 years old, regional buyer for Adam's largest client. Of course. I did not cry. I made coffee in the French press, which hissed like it was trying to warn me, and stared at the steam while the cat pawed the cabinet where the treats live. Somewhere between sip 3 and 4, I asked myself the first question I will lay at your feet. Should I have seen the red flags earlier? The lunch meetings that ran long. The way he turned his phone upside down like it needed to nap. The out-of-town trade shows that began to smell like cologne and hotel soap when he hugged Jordan goodnight. They got home late the next day, afternoon sun slanting across the dining table where Jordan's math homework sat, neat graphite numbers and eraser shavings like ashes. I had set out paper plates and delivered the least celebratory rotisserie chicken in the history of poultry with potato salad like a consolation prize. Adam walked in carrying a duffel and a smile that belonged to customer service. Jordan had a navy blue cast inscribed with Skater Boy and a half smile that kept flickering, like he was switching channels between brave and hurt. "Took a tumble," Adam said. "We handled it." I looked at our son. He looked at me. There are 10,000 words in a 13-year-old's silence. After we ate, I told Jordan I wanted to show him the trick to showering with a cast, a plastic bag and a rubber band, because the internet is wrong and the cast protector leaks. In the bathroom, the air smelled like Irish Spring and the wet wool scent of the shower curtain. I kept my voice light. On a scale of 1 to I want to scream, how are we doing? He swallowed. "It hurt," he said. "Dad kept saying it was fine. Lydia kept calling you." He lifted the edge of the bag. I slipped my hand in to seal it. "You did everything right," I said. "Next time, call me twice, 3 times. His eyes slid away. Is Dad in trouble? That is the kind of question they do not put in parenting books. I kissed his forehead and felt the heat of embarrassment and anger that did not belong to him. He whispered, "I heard Nana say Melissa on the phone." The rubber band snapped against my wrist. Downstairs, the dishwasher hummed like a lullaby gone wrong. Adam stood at the sink with sleeves rolled up like he was auditioning for Penitent Husband. "We need to talk," I said. He leaned on the counter, chin up. We were at a coffee shop. Lydia is dramatic. The hotel receipt I had printed lay on the table between a salt shaker and Jordan's pencil case. He looked at it. He looked at me. "You're invading my privacy," he said. "Love should not need an alibi," I said. He laughed, a dry wheeze. "You always did love your little phrases." He did the dance cheaters practice in their sleep. It was nothing. It was a misunderstanding. It was just talking. It was my fault. My shifts, my stress, my distance, my tendency to double-check the deadbolts and the math. He said Melissa was just a friend. He said they met for coffee to discuss a buyer contract. "What coffee shop is open at 2 in the morning?" I asked, not expecting an answer. He said he did not hear his phone. It must have been on silent. I pictured Jordan in a fluorescent-lit triage room, sucking air through his teeth, his small white face set against the crinkly paper like a moon against asphalt. Adam got angry that I pictured things. "You always catastrophize," he said. "You make everything a crisis." I am an ICU nurse. Crisis is my native language. My friend Mariah dropped by with a bag of groceries and the kind of hug that cracks the shell around a person. She is a school counselor, 37 years old, forever in cardigans and sensible shoes that squeak on tile. She set down strawberries and oat milk and placed the strawberries in a blue bowl that suddenly looked funereal. "Do you think trust can ever be rebuilt once it's broken?" she asked me quietly, handing me a paper towel like a handkerchief. I did not answer. Adam stomped upstairs and slammed a door like a teenager. Mariah stayed until Jordan fell asleep on the sofa with the cat kneading his blanket and a baseball game murmuring on mute. The living room smelled like fabric softener and the lemon cleaner I sprayed all afternoon as if Shine could fix it. Mariah said, "You need a plan, not a speech, not a scene, a plan." I already had one. In the morning, while Adam was at the gym pretending to lift the weight of his choices, I called Melissa's office from the parking lot outside my hospital, where the asphalt radiated yesterday's heat. I told her assistant I was returning a call. Could she confirm Melissa's extension? The assistant gave me an email, too. I did not bomb the castle. I walked up and knocked. The twist is not that Melissa was married. The twist is that Melissa's husband, Caleb, is a firefighter who has eaten in our kitchen, who has helped us move a couch that wouldn't turn a corner, who once sat on our porch and taught Jordan how to roast a marshmallow so it's gooey inside and blistered outside without catching fire. He is 39 years old, compact as a coiled rope, with the kind of laugh that makes you open the windows. I did not want to call him. But I kept hearing Jordan in my head, trying not to cry under fluorescent lights while his father let a hotel door close behind him. I used Melissa's office email to find her maiden name, then her Facebook, which showed a wedding photo with a date stamped in a cursive font like an invitation. From there, Caleb's profile linked to his Firehouse page. The station phone rang twice. A woman answered with a voice like coffee and sandpaper. I asked for Caleb. She said he was on shift in an hour. I left a message. Tell him Rachel called. Tell him it is about Melissa and Adam. My phone felt hot in my hand. I tucked it into my scrub pocket and went inside to smell antiseptic and hear the elevator ping like a metronome. Caleb called during my lunch, which was cold pizza that tasted like cardboard and pepperoni shame. His voice was careful. You said Melissa and Adam. Adam who? I told him. Silence. Then a low exhale, like someone opening a door to a gust of cold air. Yeah, he said. Yeah. He did not ask how I knew. He had his own screenshots, his own late-night dots on a map. We were going to counseling next week, he said, and then, like he was telling me the weather, she told me she needed closure. I asked him the second question I will lay at your feet. Would you feel more betrayed by lies or by silence? Lies, he said. Silence is just training wheels for lies. We decided to meet that evening at a diner off the highway, the kind with chrome trim and waitresses who call you hun, and coffee that could strip paint. I wore jeans and a sweatshirt. He wore his uniform pants and a t-shirt that said his station number. We traded what we knew without theatrics, like two people comparing x-rays. He had photos of Melissa's car in the hotel lot on 3 different Thursdays. I had phone logs and Adam's expense report with a dinner labeled Client Consult at a place where the steak costs more than our weekly groceries. The waitress refilled our coffee cups until my hands shook. Caleb finally asked, eyes on the sugar packets he was lining up like tiles, would you confront the person they cheated with? I stirred my coffee. I think I already am. We did not ambush them. We invited them to dinner. We should all put this to bed, Adam had said when I told him I had spoken to Melissa, and he smirked, and I felt something old and stupid fall off me like a scab. He suggested a nice restaurant. I suggested our house because I wanted Jordan at a friend's, and I wanted walls that knew me and a table that had held our best and worst. Caleb agreed. He arrived early with a pie from a bakery that makes crust so flaky it leaves crumbs like confetti. He stood in my kitchen sniffing the cinnamon and said, I never thought I'd be here. They were late, of course. Melissa came first, in a blouse the color of wilted violets, hair perfect like the end of a commercial. She brought a bottle of wine she placed on the counter like an apology gift. Adam strolled in after, breath mint sharp, wristwatch catching the light like he wanted to be seen. We all sat at the table, napkins on plates, roasted chicken with rosemary because apparently I cannot stop weaponizing poultry. Caleb looked at Melissa. Tell the truth, he said. She started with the coffee shop line, then pivoted to connection and friendship, and we didn't mean to hurt anyone. Adam said, we're all adults. I said, Jordan is 13. Caleb slid a printout across the table, hotel dates with times. Melissa's mouth tightened. I put Adam's phone logs beside them. For a second, it looked like a conference table at a particularly civil deposition. Then Jordan's cast clattered on the counter where I had left his water bottle. Everyone flinched. Caleb said, very softly, silence is a confession with better PR. Adam rubbed his temple with his thumb, a move I used to think meant stress and now recognized as stalling. We were unhappy, he said. We were lonely, Melissa added. I heard my own voice come out level. Is betrayal the ultimate form of disrespect? Adam stared at the salt shaker as if it could answer. Melissa started to cry in a way that sounded practiced. Caleb stood, chair legs skidding on the hardwood. We're done here. He turned to me. You want to handle the rest together or separate?
My plan clicked into place like a sturdy seatbelt. "Together," I said. Adam opened his mouth. I raised a hand. "Jordan will stay here. You will stay at your mother's. We will speak through email about our son." Adam laughed, small and mean. "You cannot just kick me out." I slid a manila folder across the table, copies of the lease for his mother's condo, already arranged with her, who had hugged me in a kitchen that smelled like Windex and regret, and whispered, "I told him this would happen." He blinked. That was the first time he realized I have backup. A week later, the house had reset into a temporary new normal. Jordan's cast became a guest star at school. Kids signed it with doodles and a heart that said, "You're tough." We developed a rhythm: homework at the dining table that looks out on the maple tree, grilled cheese with too much butter in the pan, movies where the dialogue is easy and no one cheats. At night, when the house hummed and the wind touched the window screens, I wrote down everything: dates, times, quotes, like a person building a raft out of receipts. I also wrote 3 rules for myself on an index card by the sink. Do not beg, do not rage.
Do not explain to people who are determined to misunderstand you. Adam tried apologies like hats, one after the other. He stood on the porch saying, "I messed up," and then, "We can fix it," and then, "Think about Jordan," as if I had stopped. He tried the Bible verse text from his cousin who runs a church basement men's group. He tried a playlist. He tried showing up with Jordan's favorite takeout, sushi he never let himself order because he hates seaweed. I thanked him and took the bag and closed the door gently. He texted a question I am throwing like a paper airplane into this room. "Do you think I went too far?" I did not answer that one out loud, but in my head I said, "You did not go far. You went elsewhere." Caleb and I kept in touch because we could not help it. We were both paddling the same current. We compared lawyer names and split costs of a private investigator who confirmed what we already knew and discovered something I did not. Adam had opened a credit card I did not know about. He had charged a weekend trip in a city 2 hours away, a room with a river view, 2 spa charges, and a ridiculous $42 charcuterie board. The investigator also found a message Melissa sent: "I wish we could stop hiding." My pulse did not rise, it settled. He outsourced our marriage. That is one of my 2 punchlines. The other came to me when I was folding laundry, and Jordan's socks came out of the dryer stuck to a t-shirt like they were afraid. Love should not need an alibi. I wrote it on the index card. I did one more thing. I sat with Jordan, the house smelling like microwaved popcorn and the lemon lavender candle he hates but tolerates. "You did nothing wrong," I said. "Mom and Dad love you. Dad made a choice that hurt us." He nodded, jaw tight like Adam's when he loses a sale. "Do we have to talk to Melissa?" he asked. "No," I said. "We do not have to do anything we do not want to." He stared at the television, which was suddenly too loud. "Are we going to be okay?" "Yes," I said, and it felt true. The final confrontation did not come with fireworks. It came in a courtroom that smelled like old paper and somebody's peppermint gum. We were both careful and quiet. Our lawyers did the part where adults translate betrayal into bullet points. Adam's lawyer tried to argue that my shifts made me unavailable, as if availability equals value, as if the hours I spent keeping other people's hearts beating did not count because I did not post about them. My lawyer slid across a stack of printed messages and call logs and the times when Jordan's emergency call went unanswered, and the list of unknown charges and the PI report that read like a very boring thriller. I did not look at Adam. I looked at the judge's glasses catching the overhead light. Afterward, in the hallway where the floor smelled like lemon wax and the vending machine hummed, Adam said, "We could still fix this." His eyes were red, his voice was low. He reached for my hand. I did not step back. I did not step forward. I asked the last question I will lay at your feet. Would you feel more betrayed by lies or by silence? He did not answer. I tucked my hand into my pocket where the index card lived.
We left with a temporary custody agreement that made sense. Jordan with me during the week so he could keep his school, every other weekend with Adam, no overnights with unrelated opposite-sex adults while Jordan is present. The judge used that phrase and Melissa's name without looking at her. Outside, the sky was flat and gray. The air had that wet cardboard smell right before rain. Caleb texted, "How'd it go?" I sent a thumbs up and a photo of the maple tree. He replied with a photo of a Firehouse coffee mug and the words, "It gets better." I believed him in the way you believe someone who has stood in smoke and walked out. There is a debate some of you will want to have about custody and cheating and consequences. You are welcome to it. I will ask only this. Should cheaters lose custody in a divorce? Not as punishment, but as a measure of judgment. Adam left our son in a fluorescent room to sign his body over to strangers while he chased dessert. He says it was just one night. I say it was a thesis. His mother still texts me photos of family recipes. She is not choosing sides, she says, just continuing to make green bean casserole and attend baptisms. I keep the messages and make a casserole that Jordan refuses because he hates the crunchies on top.
The mini resolution came the night the air got warm again, and the neighbors dragged out grills and radio speakers, and kids yelled down the block, and it all smelled like charcoal and cut grass. Jordan wanted to try throwing again, cast and all, just soft toss. We stood in the yard as the light went gold, the maple tree whispering. He missed, I missed, we laughed. When we went inside, the answering machine blinked, a message from Adam saying he had been offered a transfer to another city to start fresh. I poured pasta into boiling water and watched the hiss like applause. I told Jordan the transfer would not change our routine. He said, "Okay," in the new, deeper voice that is sneaking up on him. I added basil to the sauce, and the kitchen smelled like a promise. The final climax did not ask for permission. Caleb texted me that Melissa had posted a photo with Adam at a rooftop bar, captioned, "New Beginnings." The comments were hearts and "Get it, girl," and one ill-timed "You deserve happiness," typed by a cousin who has not called me once. I took a screenshot, and then another, and then I closed the app and put my phone face down. I could have blown it up. I could have tagged his mother and her boss and our entire cul-de-sac. Instead, I mailed a packet to Melissa's HR, anonymously, with dates and guidelines about fraternization that she had signed. I did not need revenge to be loud. I needed it to be effective. A week later, Caleb told me she was suspended pending investigation. Adam called me from a new number. I did not pick up. Later that night, after Jordan was asleep and the house had that quiet that feels like a held breath, I stood at the sink with my hands in soapy water. Out the window, the neighbor's dog barked at something only dogs can see. I set a plate on the rack and watched water flare on the stainless steel in tiny stars. And that is when I realized he never chose us when it counted.